Have you ever met someone who treats their birthday like it's just another Tuesday? No countdown on social media, no big announcements. And you might think, that's a little strange. But if you actually look closer, you'll find they often have this incredibly rare and honestly peaceful mindset.
So it really makes you wonder, right? Why? Why do some people just completely opt out of what, for so many of us, is supposed to be the most important day of the year? It's a really interesting puzzle about where we find our value and, well, our happiness.
And here's the thing. The answer isn't what you might think. It's not about them being sad, or antisocial, or ungrateful. Not at all. Actually, it points to a pretty unique kind of wisdom. It's a totally different way of looking at life, at time, and where our joy really, truly comes from. So, let's dive in and explore that mindset together.
All right, so first up, let's talk about what I like to call the quiet birthday paradox. We're going to look at two completely different ways people approach celebrating another year around the sun.
So you've basically got two camps, right? On one side, you have the big celebration. This is a day that's all about external stuff, messages, gifts, attention, all the expectations. And then, on the other side, you've got the quiet day. This one's defined by an internal sense of calm. It's just a normal day. You could say one is all about performance and the other is all about peace.
And hey, I want to be super clear about this. This is not a judgment call. There is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting a big celebration. This is just about understanding a different point of view, a perspective that maybe suggests happiness isn't this big annual event we wait for, but something we practice every single day.
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into our next section, finding value from within. We're going to get into the internal stuff, the core traits that actually make this whole quiet approach possible. So, what's at the very heart of this mindset? Well, it's this really powerful mix of deep self-awareness and emotional independence. These are people who really know who they are, and because of that, they just don't rely on what other people do or don't do to define their own joy or their sense of self-worth. I mean, think about it like this. Their feeling of being valued has nothing to do with how many birthday messages pop up on their phone. It comes from inside. It's this unshakable internal state. So it really all boils down to a few key traits. These folks, they know themselves. They don't need that outside validation to feel good. They can create their own joy. And this is a big one. They reflect more than they react. And all of that, that's the foundation for some incredible self-reliance. Okay, so they have this really strong internal world. So how does that affect their view of everything else? Let's dig into that in our next section, a peaceful view of life. Now, this next point is so important to understand. These people tend to have low expectations of others, but, and this is the key, it doesn't come from a place of sadness or cynicism. Not at all. It comes from a desire for peace. They basically let everyone else off the hook. They release them from that pressure to perform or to prove their love on one specific day.
And the result of that is actually pretty profound. Because they aren't carrying around this mental checklist of expectations, they are very rarely disappointed. So if someone remembers their birthday, it's a genuine, wonderful surprise that they can truly appreciate. And if someone forgets, no big deal. They just don't take it personally.
This whole peaceful outlook is really supported by three key pillars. First, it starts with gratitude for the simple things, every single day. Second, it's about actively letting go of that pressure on other people. And finally, it's about finding joy in the small, quiet, present moments. The ones that often matter so much more than the big, loud events.
At the end of the day, it really just comes down to a simple choice. Let's be honest, big celebrations can be stressful, full of social obligations. For someone with this mindset, a calm, authentic day is just way more valuable than a loud one that doesn't feel quite real.
All right, let's bring this all home in our final section, the true source of joy. So what's the real takeaway here? What's the lesson from the quiet birthday? Okay, here's the absolute heart of it all. They don't attach all their hopes for happiness to a single 24-hour period. They just get it. They understand that their life, their worth, their joy, all of it matters every single day, not just once a year.
And this way of thinking is really built on a few core beliefs. For them, every single day has meaning. Just being alive, that's the gift. Each new year is a chance to grow and learn. And getting older, it's not a problem to be solved. It's experience and wisdom being earned.
And, if you're listening to this and it's resonating with you, if you're someone who feels this way, it is so important for you to know that you are not boring or cold, not at all.
In fact, this perspective is often a sign of a really deep understanding of life. It's a kind of inner peace that, frankly, a lot of people are still searching for.
So here it is, the ultimate message. The big takeaway is this. When you stop waiting for special moments to feel special, life itself becomes the celebration. It's a total game changer. You stop outsourcing your happiness to one day on the calendar, and you start finding it everywhere, every day.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Are you waiting for a special day to feel special?